human bone consists of living connective tissue, and what that basically means is inside the bone we have living cells that continually undergo different types of processes. Now, one very important type of process that takes place in the bone on a continual basis throughout the lifetime of the organism is a process known as bone metabolism or bone remodeling. Bone remodeling is the process by which specialized types of cells break down and rebuild the extracellular matrix that surrounds our cells inside the bone. Now, there are two specialized types of cells that are involved in this process of bone remodeling. We have osteoblasts and we have osteoclasts. Now, osteoblasts are those cells that build the matrix of the bone. These cells are capable of producing the protein collagen and secreting this collagen into the extracellular matrix, where the organic component of the matrix consists predominantly of this protein collagen. Now, on the other hand, these osteoblasts are also capable of creating the inorganic component of the matrix. They can basically absorb the calcium as well as phosphate from the blood and deposit these ions onto the matrix in the form of crystals known as hydroxyapatite. So remember, hydroxyapatite is the inorganic component of our matrix. It consists of calcium, phosphate, and hydroxide. So it's the collagen that gives our bone the ability to resist tensile forces, but it's the hydroxyapatite that gives the bone the ability to resist compressive forces. Now, this process of bone remodeling, so breaking down our bone and rebuilding our bone, takes place during the lifetime of the organism, and it also helps us rebuild our bones when we fracture those bones. So let's discuss the different steps involved in this bone metabolism, bone remodeling process. So let's begin with step A. In step A, we basically have our resting bone. We have the matrix of the bone as shown, so this is our bone. We have the lining of the bone, and these are the cells found on the lining of that bone. Now, let's suppose we want to actually recruit certain cells, the osteoclasts, to a certain location to break down that bone. So we basically activate these osteoclasts, we recruit them, and we signal exactly where we want our rebuilding process to take place, remodeling process to take place. Let's suppose it's here. So these osteoclasts shown in red are activated, they're recruited, and eventually they bond, they attach onto the surface of this section as shown in this diagram. And as soon as the osteoclasts attach, they begin the process of resorbing. So they basically resorb our bone, they break down the bone and release these constituents such as calcium and phosphate into our bloodstream. So once resorption actually takes place and once we break down the bone, the matrix, what happens is these cells basically depart, they detach and move away, while the osteoblasts shown in blue are now recruited and activated. And these cells basically go on to attach to the same exact region where the resorption basically took place as shown in this diagram. And once they bind to that section, they begin to rebuild our bone by creating collagen, secreting that collagen into this area, as well as absorbing the calcium and phosphate from the blood to create the hydroxyapatite. And eventually, when some time passes, we basically fill this entire section up with the newly formed matrix. So this consists of our hydroxyapatite, which is the dominant portion of the inorganic component of the matrix, as well as the collagen protein, which is the dominant portion of the organic component of that matrix. And once these osteoblasts form our matrix, they can basically differentiate into our cells known as osteocytes, as shown as shown in that diagram. So these are the processes that are involved in the process of bone remodeling that takes place inside the bone on a continuous basis throughout the entire lifetime of our organism.